writer for math textbooks. By night, I'm one of the best pinball players in the world. Myself and Mark Steinman. Mark Steinman is the operator of Papa World Headquarters just outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We run pinball tournaments, we play in pinball tournaments, and we're trying to elevate pinball to what we feel it is basically a sport or as...
Wait,
what?
hold on.
Why don't you get a microphone on?
I want an applause.
You can't handle the applause. You need a microphone if you want applause. And you just set up the camera. Come on. We're having a little bit of trouble getting started, and the reason is that most of our videos are presented in a vertical orientation. We film in HD vertically, and then we transform it, or actually we transform the TV and present it in a vertical TV live at the tournament site. Because of the orientation of this monitor, we basically had to mess around, and Mark is inventing a new way to broadcast so that we can make it work for this session.
And the new way to broadcast is not going to work today. So you're all just going to have to kind of tilt your heads whenever you're watching because I can't figure this out. So I'm sorry.
Oh!
You're going to be a little dizzy.
Humanity!
But I feel like you can all handle this, so I don't have to keep messing around with this. We'll
No.
do this thing. Is it okay?
Yeah.
Start looking at it from the side. It's fine. Yeah, it's like you're all in an arcade, you got a beer, you're just watching your buddy play from the side. It's not a big deal.
We want to start off by just introducing a little bit about what we do at Papa with a short video, and to introduce the World Headquarters and the games that are there. So Papa World Headquarters, just outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We will be running the largest ever pinball tournament called Pinball 2013 in 3 weeks. There are $60,000 in cash prizes at the tournament we will be running there, with 400 players, 200 pinball machines set up to play in the tournament, and another 250 machines on site for people to play who aren't even in the tournament.
Don't short my hard work.
Shut up! Your hard work isn't paying off at all. We hang banners. Keith Elwin keeps beating me in the World Championships. Andre Masenkoff won a year ago, and Keith Elwin defended his title just this year. He's won 4 out of the last 5, and it goes all the way back to 1991 when a guy named Steve Epstein set up the Papa World Championship in New York City, which I ended up winning at age 18 in 1994 for the first time, and I won again in 2005. This is a few shots of what the site looks like. We have games going all the way back to the 1950s, all the way up to brand new machines like the AC/DC, the Avengers. When the Wizard of Oz comes out in a month or two, we will have one of those. And these are just some artwork shots of games that are available around the mall.
They gave me a microphone now.
Oh no.
I don't have to scream. Yeah.
What, you have something to say? Or are you just going to say I have a microphone?
Papa's incredible. You all need to come. It's an amazing place. Where else are you going to
Ladies are available.
500 pinball machines in a 30,000 square foot facility? Look at the banners. You have any idea how hard it was to hang those up? You have any idea what we went through?
I wasn't there. It was your job.
You were in Boston.
One of the goals of Papa is to promote tournaments, and we've begun to operate a circuit of tournaments around the country. There'll be one tournament every month this year, including tournaments in Pittsburgh, in Los Angeles, in Seattle, and Austin, Texas, and with a total prize package of over $150,000 in cash for the winners in those tournaments.
Well, you're not
At
really
the end,
counting the
bring all
Papa
those.
tournaments.
What?
You're not really counting the Papa tournaments there. We got
No.
60 grand in Pinball just this year. Or am I just that bad at math?
Yeah, you're bad at math.
All right, I'm bad at math.
How many pictures are there of this thing?
There's a lot. I don't know. I don't know. I did what I did. Just deal with it.
Is that it? Are you done? Is it over?
There's more. No,
Come
let's get
on.
a pan out here. Look at this beautiful pan. This is our facility here. Whenever you're playing Pinball, all the games are set up in groups of 4, and so you have to learn how to play all different styles of pinball machines. You can't just play some of the newer stuff. You got to play the newer stuff, and then immediately transition into an electromechanical game, and then transition into into one from like late 80s, early 90s, and then into one from like 70s to the 80s. So to be a pinball champion, you got to be able to play not only a bunch of different games from one era, but games from like the last 5 decades. So it's a lot of studying, it's a lot of practice. You got to be able to do it all. Sorry, I cut you off.
You did. So what we're going to do is show you a few examples of pinball play, and we'll also invite people up here to play the games and challenge us. If you win, you get swag. If you lose, you might get swag.
That's right, we need awesome t-shirts.
And we've got some good stuff. So let's switch over and see how that camera is.
I don't know, my glove when they switch it over.
Is it terrible? Oh, no! Look at that! Oh, the humanity.
You know, the fact that
the sadness of it all.
the fact that you all clapped for that makes me feel like the clap for me earlier didn't really mean that much because this isn't what I wanted.
So this is Attack from Mars, a classic game from the late 90s. Brian A. design, live machine software, some great work went into this game. And what I really like about it is it's simple. That someone who's playing for the first time, never played pinball before, will understand what to do sideways. That there's a big saucer right in the middle of the game with red targets protecting it. You knock the red targets down, it lowers the saucer, and you can hit the saucer and destroy the saucer. So there are three major skills, I think, in pinball. Aiming, catching, and nudging. So aiming is the art of making shots, but catching is the most important because you can bring it to a track like that. That's
Training is
drop
not a
catch.
skill?
What?
Training is not a skill? I thought
Training is a skill. Everyone will train. But if you catch, you can shoot. And you can aim at a shot and then miss it, and then try to catch again. If you catch and wait for the ball to come to a complete stop, you can decide, okay, I'm going to aim for that and make it. Now I'm back into catching mode. I'm going to try to catch again. And that's...
Make sure you lean back because you're awesome.
Lean back? What, is my head in the way?
Yeah, a little bit.
That's terrible.
One of the things that we're going to talk about today is, as a tournament player, I mean, pinball's one of the things we're going to talk about today is, as a tournament pinball player, pinball it's kind of a unique game. You have to learn rule sets, but there isn't necessarily memorization. You know, because whenever you're playing a physical game, whenever you're playing something where the action of the game is determined by the wear on the flipper rubbers, the wear on the slingshots, how close are those, how close are those switches that are causing the coil to fire? Like there's so many variables within the game. It's not. I'm going to reset here. Not only do you have to know how to play Attack from Mars, but you have to know how to play a bunch of different types of Attack from Mars. You have to be able to immediately recognize how this specific game is playing, not only know the rules to it, but know how to adapt your style to the way this one's playing within 3 balls. And it's an amazingly challenging thing, and just, to watch people, not him, but to watch other people do it is a pretty incredible thing. Go ahead, talk.
All right. Just the initial strategy on these games. So we'll talk for a couple of different strategies on the game as we go. The base strategy, if you've never seen this game before, is to just shoot what's flashing and don't flail away. You don't have to push the flipper button every time the ball comes. In fact, it can be your advantage to let the ball bounce over from one side to the other to deaden the momentum of the ball. That's called a bounce over or a chill hold maneuver, or they had all sorts of stupid names for it. But you just watch and the ball comes to a nice complete stop, even though I haven't really done anything. I just waited and let the ball say, well, that's going to the right. And that's trouble over there, but it's not. Pass it over. So you don't have to flip with the flippers. You can use the flippers, I liken it to a bunt in baseball. Using the flippers to deaden the momentum of the ball instead of using the momentum of the ball.
It's weird that in this game, oftentimes your best decision is to not do anything. It's strange because there's a lot of situations in pinball where you're far better off not flipping because you're much more likely to gain control of the ball by doing so. And a lot of new players come up and they're just machine gun flipping and playing and playing and playing and just thinking that the best possible scenario is to get that ball to the top of the playfield. But playing in control and kind of gathering yourself and understanding that pinball is not necessarily a totally random thing, but is something that you control. Every time you drain in this game, it's your fault. And it's an unusual thing for a lot of players who aren't really experienced in it to kind of, to recognize.
So that's the strategy, the initial strategy, but the game is deliberately built to mess you up if you use this strategy. And the reason is the position of that shot. If I hit those red targets, the ball's going to come screaming back to my flippers. So as you progress in pinball, you realize, hey, there are other shots, and some that are safe, like the shot on the left. If I shoot that shot, the ball's going to come back to me without much difficulty. Shoot the shot on the right, it's going to come back to you without much difficulty. And as you progress, you realize you don't always have to make the shot right at the middle. Oh!
I would have tilted it even if you didn't right there.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
They kicked me out of the other place because I was in front of the camera, so I'm going to come out.
Oh, good job. Well, what I'd like to do here is invite 3 people up on stage to play a 4-player game.
There's a test.
There's the test. No. All right, we got one over here. We talked to you. We talked to you before the show, so come on up.
Where's Larry?
And,
Larry
there were 2 other people we talked to before. Who are you guys? We talked to 2 others who came up. Joe and was it Larry?
Larry had enthusiasm. Come on up.
All right. So I forgot to show off the game reset. That's okay. So we're going to start with a 4-player game, and basically we're just going to yell at your play, and then we'll play. But, if you, as organizers, we'll come around and see what questions you have. No.
While we get these guys going, one of the things that we've kind of touched on briefly and that we're also going to discuss is how pinball is a game of risk reward. You have to look at the playfield and decide which shots that you can take that are going to keep the ball safe and which shots are going to put the game in danger. We're going to have nightmares.
Put your head back, please. All right, clearly the goal of pinball is to use your head as much as possible. No longer rewriting call people up to play the game.
It's Tommy's the Who.
Yeah, this is the blind version. So that was a nice move there. I don't even know what that was. All right, thanks a lot. We got some of these, we got some t-shirts here from the Stern Pinball Factory. They make most of the pinball machines produced in America. And so here you go. I'm going to try to move the camera into a better position here as apologize to Joe. Your moment in the sun will be destroyed. There's adjustments I made. Oh, so it's still sideways, sorry. All right, so that's a good catch right there. And the catch gives you an opportunity to make a shot. And as it comes down to the right, the ball gets out of control a little bit. So we're going to talk next about what kinds of nudging you can do. That's too much. But this will bring down the shield for you, and you're doing all right. Here's a chance to catch. Perfect catch. Nice job. That gives you extra swag.
So while Bowen goes ahead and, meticulously goes through his outline, I'm just going to fire off facts about pinball randomly, trying to interject into whatever he's saying. In addition to...
You earned this signed flyer from Jersey Jack Pinball, as well as the shirt for making a successful drop catch. Very good. Larry, right?
In addition to the risk reward of the game, there's also the question of player style. A lot of times whenever you're playing competitive pinball, you have to recognize how you feel, what shots feel comfortable to you in particular, because the difference between a brick and a successfully made lock shot, like he just tried to make, is, maybe a hundredth of a second. And, if you didn't eat right that morning, or you're just, kind of a little nervous, then, chances are, your air, your range is going to be off. So as a player, as a player in a competitive situation, not only do you have to weigh the rule sets and the game and how the game is treating you, but you also have to weigh how you feel about it, and you have to stick to the shots in a lot of situations that are going to keep the ball in play.
So Larry was actually a victim of side-to-side motion. If the ball goes left, right, or in this case up and down, it's much more likely to hit these out lanes. And the out lanes are designed to eat your ball. And a lot of people come to pinball and they're like, how do I get the ball to stop going down the out lane? It just goes over there and then it's gone, and I don't have any control over it. And the answer is you do have control. The control is twofold. One, you can shoot shots that don't send the ball over there. You make a shot, the ball's not going to bounce off the post and fly over to that side. It's going to be still under your control. The other is you can move the machine within reason. I mean, I can move it this much, or that much, or that much.
Have you ever heard people say that, like if you nudge the machine, it's cheating?
I know, I thought nudging the machine was cheating too. I played pinball for over a decade before meeting someone who nudged the machine. And then that player said, wait, what do you mean it's illegal? It's not illegal.
Move again, it's okay. It'll tell you whenever you move it too much.
Right there, I am moving the machine to make it go in that side, to go in the correct side instead of the down side. So over here on this side, you can use the rubber and bounce out. The ideal bounce is to not even get in that area in the first place. So another question that's very common is, how do you make it decide to go in instead of out? The best answer is, don't make it go over there at all. Or if it's over there, try to push it out completely instead of making a decision.
The best answer is not to close your eyes and pray. Generally doesn't work.
All right, so I'm sorry about Joe there, I beat you down. The first person to win will get this Jersey Jack signed Wizard of Oz backlash. So we're also going to make the challenge increasingly difficult for us as players, so that there'll be a better chance of someone winning it each time. What should I talk about next?
I don't know, I'm getting a bunch of text messages.
Text messages, what the hell? Let's look at a different strategy, which is there's a lock shot here to the left, and you make that shot, you light the lock, and then you put it in the lock, and you need 3 locks to start multi-ball. Accuracy is important, you know, by making those shots, I keep the ball in play, and I roll the ball over to this side so I can get a trap and make the next shot. Bouncing it over, if you need to bounce it, you need to give it a little more momentum, you can. Go ahead and clap for that, because that was a good shot. No, that was not a good shot. C is not a jackpot. That was a good chance there. And that is what you call a backhand. So you can often shoot shots from the flipper you don't think of. Like in this case, shooting that lock from the left flipper, or shooting like a loop from the right. Now 3 balls will come out. 5 red shots are jackpots, and I'm going to try to make them all here. Or miss over and over again. Either way.
One thing that should probably be mentioned here is that while
Yes, here what I'm doing is trying to deaden the control. Get control of the balls. All 3 balls are in control. Fine, get
you're
up.
talking over me, you can't hear me because I'll bring.
All right, good. You got nothing to say.
One of the things that really
Jackpot.
One of the things that should be mentioned is that control during multi-ball play is no different than control during single ball play. You still need to maintain your composure in all the different balls. Just because there's a bunch of different things that are happening all at once doesn't mean that every time you train it isn't your fault. You still need to use flipper skills like he's doing and make sure you know and you control where the ball's going.
All right. So the idea when you have 2 in the same flipper is to separate them. It's called a cradle separation. Now notice I'm just waiting. It's like, why don't you shoot this ball? I want to get the other ball back under control first. Back under control of the drop catch, and now I can make whatever shot I want. And if you know where shots are feeding, like the center loop shot feeds back to the right flipper, that's the shot I want to concentrate on right now. And I'm sucking at it, but it's all right. And the rest of the skills are still in play. Oh, no! Sorry about that. Let's make jackpot. You get a little time at the end of the multi-ball to keep shooting shots and make more jackpots. But now the skill on a game gets a little harder as it goes along. So that multi-ball that took 4 shots will take 6 shots to get the next one. And games often increase the skill of difficulty as they go. This next saucer that I'm trying to complete here also takes more shots than the first one. It's also worth more points. A couple other skills to talk about before we bring up the next group. One is a post transfer. And although this isn't a good time for it, say you need the ball on the other side. There's a few things to do. One is to just make a shot that sends the ball to the other side. Another is to flop it over and just hold up the flipper and watch it kick over to the other side if there's enough momentum. So here this should kick over, but if it didn't, if you give the game a little push, it increase the momentum. But a post transfer is the third way. And you can basically push it off the corner of the corner there and then try to flop it over. That was not really pretty. That wasn't pretty either, but it was effective. It got the ball the other side. And the advantage of this is there's almost no way to lose the ball. as I lose the ball. It basically will stay under control. It either stays short and stays on the same flipper, in which case you can just do it again, or it goes across.
You're playing with your food now.
I am. I'm playing with food. I have lunch today? No lunch. There was another skill that when the next group comes up and wants somebody to try it, I'll give an extra prize if someone does it. When the ball is coming off a side wall, like this wall, it will come down and hit this slingshot and get out of control. If you hit the side of the machine while it's coming off the wall, you can influence the ball when it's not even anywhere near your flippers. Push it a little bit further to the left, and it comes down to your flipper instead. Let me see if I can line that up again. If it comes out the right side here. Nah, it didn't, but
That bounce.
maybe one more try of that. And if it doesn't work, then we'll do it later. Good luck. Ooh. Here's another skill to practice, which is just called a head bounce. You just let it bounce off your flipper and over to the other side. Anyway, let's bring up 3 more people, and we'll do it over again. All right, one over here. All right. Do it the hat. And I don't know. Pick one.
Me?
Yeah.
This guy right here. He's really excited.
All right. Sweet, man. Thanks so much. Okay, so again, if you beat us, you're going to win the Wizard of Oz Bad Class. If you if you tap it off the wall, you get swag, and you're pretty much going to get swag no matter what happens. So don't worry about it too much. Right. Ooh, wow, what the heck was that? About the ball save. So if you lose the ball within the first 5 seconds and don't cover over the camera with a white hat of some kind, you'll get the ball back. That's called a ball save. So unfortunately, I'm just kidding. You got the ball save, so it's back. So the ball save was invented in about 1990 to give people extra turns in the cases where they're maybe not so good. And that was a pretty good costume.
Thank you.
So this is a good chance to drop catch out of there. A good attempt to drop catch. Drop catch is dropping the flipper instead of raising the flipper. So you played before? What is your name?
You can tell the way he's controlling the ball.
He's got the stance. So when it comes down out of that kick out, start it with your flipper up and drop the flipper instead of what you're doing is flipping at it as the ball comes. That will let you get better control. But carry on, don't listen to anything we're saying. Oh no! There's supposed to be 3 against us, but we'll have 4 against us. That's fine. Go ahead.
Okay.
If you can beat them, we'll give you the better shirt. So we're gonna we'll post some of the links that we have to our video series of Warning coverage. No, you were the worst. You don't get the shirt. Why are you with the shirts? Hey, who was player 2? I don't know. Our players will get the shirt. All right, let's beat that. All right, let's beat that. All right, let's beat that split flipper. Split flipper is a way to play with 2 players. Just plunge it. Should we beat this without flipping?
No, right side.
I'm passing it over.
I'm going saucer.
All right, go saucer. Risk all day. Go ahead. Go for it. Do something. What? I can flip? Oh, whatever. I'm not flipping. All right, we won. So one of the things that happens with attack farmers, and we use this game in competitions a lot, is that players have to get used to whatever the specific attack from Mars is doing. So I may think that the shot is here when it's actually there a little bit based on the strength of the flipper, the tilt settings, the altitude of the game, no, the pitch of the game, and all that stuff. So this is why pinball and video games, the competitions are nowhere near the style of one another. In video games, like in King of Kong, you got two guys in completely separate parts of the country playing on Donkey Kong because they literally know that they're getting the exact same game and the exact same experience on it. But in order to play a pinball competition, you have to go to the same place and beat those people on the exact same pinball machine on the exact same time, and that's the only real fair competition there can be. But it also means you get a lot more camaraderie, you learn from one another, everything is visible. So unlike some secret strategy someone has in a video game to win or stalk or snipe, everything that happens in a pinball competition is visible, even more so now that we have these top-down cameras to show every flip, every shot, and every win.
Can I just talk?
No.
I just want to emphasize what you're saying here
Emphasis?
about the details of how a game is set up for competition. At the World Championships was last year, Jordan Engelbrechtson, who was the world champion in what, Papa 10? Was it 2007?
I remember that. I lost that final.
He came over from Sweden, and he was playing a game, and he calls me over, calls a tech call over, and he says, "This game's not level." And I said, okay, sure, we'll pull out that level and take a look at it. It was like a 1/10 of a degree off, and he was right. And he's played so much pinball in so many games that he can tell things like that just through repetition, through muscle memory, and through, just through experience with the games. And we're talking about a guy playing a game all the way in Sweden coming over here and telling me mine's a 1/10 of a degree off. And then, whenever you weigh things like that, the players who know exactly how a game should play versus all of the different little details, that happen because the game's a mechanical game. It's just such a beautiful marriage of randomness and of skill and of experience. I mean, that's the kind of thing, that's the beauty that makes pinball great. I don't know what my point was, so I think
I don't know what your point was either, but in any case, we're going to talk here about the last major strategy on Attack from Mars. And again, we started by saying that games have strategies. You really have to learn the game multiple ways. The other major strategy is what's called annihilation. And to get annihilation, you have to complete the yellow lights on all four, the orange lights, on all four major shots. So it's basically 12 shots. 3 left loops, 3 right loops, 3 left ramps, 3 right ramps. At which point you start basically a blistering high-score multi-ball, hopefully.
I want to jump in here real quick because what Bowen's talking about is deeper goals within a pinball machine. A well-designed game is going to give the novice player a carrot early on, something like the saucer that's straight up the middle that they're going to be able to hit and have fun with, even if they don't really know what else is going on in the game. And then you have an experienced player who can step up and look at something like, regular multi-ball and, say, okay, I got to hit this shot 6 times, and that's going to give me an even bigger carrot. And then you have a situation like total annihilation, like Bowen is flailing away trying to get here, that is a little bit deeper into the game. And, whenever you hear the term pinball wizard, the wizard mode in a game is actually a thing that you have to achieve in a lot of games. It's something that's set up, and basically what it is just a complicated situation, a complicated set of rules that you have to accomplish in order to achieve that, the biggest carrot the game can offer.
Don't!
Do you want me to talk while you miss?
Yeah, talk while I miss, please. It's much more entertaining than watching me miss. There's that tap off the wall, and what you saw there is a really important skill called a live catch. The live catch works by flipping at the same time as the ball arrives, and for whatever reason, you cancel it right at the right time. You can deaden the momentum of the ball completely and get a complete catch with the raised flipper. And this is, of course, ideal because then you can line up and miss, or maybe eventually miss again. No! Alright, well, good thing it's more than one ball. For me, anyway. Competitions in tournament play are 3 balls, and you routinely see players getting house balls and bad luck drains. I'm trying to make the right ramp here, but I'm missing it. And that is not a live catch, but the same style of catch. It's right there. That looks super dangerous. No. 8. Oh! So great save there, but then the game just sent it right back down. I didn't have any more warnings. You get 2 warnings and then a tilt. And the warnings basically tell you, you're done, you're done. And you can make one big shove that gives you a warning, tilt, you're done. But the best kind of move is a 2 warning save, where you get the ball back. There's a good live catch. Ramp. No. Come on, make these shots. Left loop. Oh, you gotta make these. Right, ramp? Make something. Oh, for the love of God. People are watching. Right, ramp? No. And there's a hurry-up timer going now, which gives me 300 million if I can shoot the center shot, but screw that.
Not worth it.
It's not worth it. No, make a shot. Right loop? Nope. What should I shoot? Anything? How about the anything shot? Now the last shot is the right loop.
One left.
Oh no! This shot is worth 1 billion points. So right now you don't even want to think about shooting this shot. You want to actually think of this shot the same way you thought of the very first shot you made, which was so easy at the beginning. Now the countdown timer, the game's yelling at you. In competition, you might have 200 people watching you and $10,000 on the line. This thing is counting down, and you're like, no, I gotta make this shot. But if you say like, all right, 5 more shots to go to do this, I just gotta make that shot 5 more times. Every shot is worth big points, and you're just going to cash in as much as you can, as fast as you can. The same things apply where you can make shots and trap balls, but usually if there's a long ball saver, there's really no reason to do that right away. But that one shot that's worth 1 billion points, that can be the difference by itself. Down to 2 balls, so catching and separating, that's a good separation there. Moving one shot from the right to the left. And let's try to separate these as well. That's a jackpot.
Are you showing?
Should I stop? What? It's 85 million points a shot here. I just made the billion.
There's more we can talk about.
All right. Go ahead, you talk. What else should I be talking about? How, I don't know.
Here's a fancy list.
What fancy list? Remember what's on the list? The list is like, oh! 3.4 mil for that ball, but that's good stuff.
Let's get some more people up here.
Let's get some more people up here who's going to beat us down. All right, one over there. 2, hat in the back. Sticking the hat up like crazy. All the way in the back, screaming and yelling with the black shirt.
He helped us carry.
Oh, he helped us carry. All right, you're 4. The one who makes the most of those yellow and orange shots on the outside will get extra swag. And if you get all 12, you will, I don't know, you'll win the game. You win attack from Mars. That's not fair. It's his game. You will win attack from Mars at that point. Can we promise that?
No.
I can promise that.
What do we need for our turn?
All right, play them all there. That's a good opportunity to catch. Good attempt there. And nice nudge off the side. That's excellent. So it's good stuff. Here's the wall slap. So there, you want to try to bang the wall just a little bit to get the ball to move out. That's going to release the saucer and open it up for free. And so you know some of the extra rules like random awards and competition, they're not random. They give them to you in a specific order. And in this case, it gives you something that you normally wouldn't want to shoot for because it's too dangerous. Nice shot. Lock is next. Oh, you're kicking butt. Good trap, good patience. Nice nudging there. Oh. Solid stuff. You're going to destroy the saucer. Oh, that was nice. Almost it. Up and over. Get control. There you go. That's good. The Avengers translate from the Stern Avengers game, as well as the Go for it, bud. That's gonna be a hard call.
I think now would be a good time to talk about nerves.
Nerves. What nerves?
Whenever you're
So this is where I think pinball becomes a sport. arcade playing and just hanging out, that's a game. Pinball, when you've got $10,000 and a giant trophy on the line. And you've been playing competition for 3 straight days, for 10 hours a day for the last 3 days, and now you have one game to bring it out as hard as you can in the grand final with people watching, people online, a spot in the rafters on the line now with this world headquarters. It is really intense. I mean, I'm very fortunate and lucky to have sort of this opportunity to be an athlete for the weekends where I go and play these tournaments. That was a nice move there, nice. Looking good, looking good, looking good. Oh, we couldn't see, that looked bad.
Just to piggyback on what you're saying here,
Go ahead.
just to piggyback on what you're saying, I talked earlier about your margin for error whenever you're playing this type of game. I mean, just being like, you're talking hundreds and thousands of a second in order to make a successful shot or turn it into a brick and potential drain. This is the amount of sleep you get, what you eat, on the day of the tournament. The players who are at the top of their game do pay attention to this. I know that Keith Ellen, who is a multi-world champion, he comes in and the tournament runs from Thursday to Sunday, and he doesn't play on Thursday because number one, because he wants to get his caloric intake right. He wants to sit down and watch how the game is playing. He wants to make sure that he gets his sleep schedule on track before he actually starts to compete.
Nice move,
So
nice
the players
move.
at the top level of this game really do try and focus, in a way that I think.
I also think that the fact that most tournament finals are match play, just pure straight up match play, the best 2 out of 3 are a 4-player game together. Take it off, take it off. And again, big hand for the volunteer enforcers. This gentleman is one of them, and did he get any vendors? Oh, we gotta start throwing stuff around.
I'm not even kidding. I'm about to throw a bunch of stuff.
So if you remember the Addams family from the 90s, second is the Pinball Wizard Arcade in Pelham, New Hampshire. It's going to be hard to find on your own, but once you find it, you want to go there. They have 80 pinball machines from the 1970s to today. Solid stuff, and they will be getting the new Wizard of Oz game when it comes out in a month or 2. Also, there is a league in the Boston area called the Boston Pinball Association. You can find it online, and they just ended the season there's a new season every couple months. If you're not from Boston, there is a site called pinballmap.com. Or an app available for it, and this will tell you what is where in cities, Seattle, Chicago, New York, Austin. Many more cities are coming online, and this is a really good idea of what's where. Some cities like Portland, Oregon, there are over 500 pinball machines on location in Portland, Oregon. They have the bug. But you may be in a town where there aren't any, in which case, get it on Pinball Map, and we'll find out about it and get around. We're trying to promote also by running the Papa Circuit. 12 pinball tournaments once a month, all over the map. Players earn points for top 24 finishes at tournaments, like a real sport might. And the top 20 players at the end of the circuit will play in the circuit final at Papa headquarters for $10,000 in bonus money for free.
The Papa Circuit is such a pain in my butt, I want to talk about it. I want to make sure that it gets its time. We will go to arcades in around the country. We're in Orlando, we're in Chicago, we go to Santa Clara, California. In May, we're flying out to Denver, Lyons, Colorado. What we're trying to do is bring pinball back into the mainstream, going to tournaments who are either have already been successful, have already experienced an amount of success, going to locations who have given back to the pinball community in different ways, and maybe just building a tournament there. And it's something that we take a lot of pride in, and that's all I got.
Yeah, so if you're anywhere in these areas, this is the tournament schedule for the rest of this year and next year. As it goes, Lyons, Colorado, Washington, Santa Clara, California. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in August is the World Championship with a top prize of $10,000. And there's a trophy over there. Can you hold that up for a second? So we were thinking of giving this trophy away. This is the World Championship trophy. trophy from previous year. They get bigger and better every year. And players come from literally all over the world, including Australia, Europe, Asia.
So, being that you're all at PAX, you're all gamers, you've all probably experienced this, but I would like to get a round of applause for my wife, who has watched me play pinball for 100,000 hours. I know you've all been there, and this was my moment, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
She has much pinball experience as Steven Seagal has weapons experience. Here's also our online contact information if you'd like to see us on Twitter, our blog, or Facebook. Most important of these is our video archive. Pinball.org/videos. We have been collecting tournament footage as well as tutorial videos on games throughout the past couple of years. Basically, ever since we've been able to do it with top-down cameras. In the future, one of our major goals is to begin to broadcast these events live on the internet at a quality that they can be viewed and understood. That means commentators. But most importantly, it means very heavy streaming costs because you can't see a pinball at 480p. You can only see a pinball pretty much at 1080p. And you can't see it at 15 frames per second either. So you need the capability of uploading and downloading extremely high quality web video in order for us to broadcast these tournaments. So it literally is something that would not have been possible a year or two ago that is becoming increasingly possible, and we basically think that it's going to give an opportunity for pinball to be much bigger than it is now, and to promote this as a sport. It's not an e-sport, because it really is physical. You are physically hitting the ball around, and everything you're doing in pinball is real. And that also means that really bad shit can go down sometimes, where you have two balls collide and they go down the sides, or the ball hops over the flipper and you're eliminated. And that sucks, but it's also pinball, and it's the reason why we keep coming back to it.
You know, talking about pinball in those terms, it makes me think about all the different boom and bust cycles that the game has had over the decades. I mean, we're talking about a game that's been around for 80, 90 years. I mean, it's been around for so long, and it's experienced crazy success, and then it fell off the map, and then crazy success again. And you know, it's recently, maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, it took a downturn, but we feel like competitive play and the amount of people who are moving to tournaments, or who are coming to tournaments and who are starting to play again is going to really push it back into another boom cycle.
So this is what it ought to look like when you're really just seeing the game in progress. So let me advance this here. So this is what it looks like on the vertical video. We post to Vimeo as well as to YouTube with this vertical orientation. It's very unusual. But when we show the tournaments live at Papa, we take HD monitors and just turn them. And it's perfect. The orientation and the size of the thing is just right. So this is really the only like 9:16 aspect ratio game where it works that way. And so I apologize for the sideways that you guys have had to deal with, and I really want to thank you for putting up with us for that reason. But we have about 35 tutorials online, and then coverage of World Championship and other championship tournaments. And basically it's high quality play explained either by the player or by commentators who are talking about the world-class players, what they're doing, why they're doing it. And we really think that pinball is accessible as well in a way like Magic the Gathering tournaments are being broadcast now live. And I play Magic the Gathering. I have no clue what the hell is going on because every card has everything. And I'm not saying pinball isn't that way because there are lots of little details in pinball that can make it very difficult for someone to like out there. Thanks, whoever played that. But those little details can be explained pretty well in pinball by live commentators. And we're lucky to actually have a former live NBA commentator, now a pinball player, is doing some of the commentary with me and with the other world-class players. So it really is, we want it to be entertaining too. If it's not entertaining, no one's going to watch it. But if you watch one of these, find it entertaining, let other people know about it, and let us know so that we can continue making these and do a great job. We have time for one more group of players. Let's see. We got Mega Man. You're not Mega Man. No, sit down. You on the end? Let's see. All right, you pointed that guy, so you. And one more. All right. You have to. Oh, you're gonna pop a shirt on. You guys are good. All right.
He goes last. He gets
Uh,
on the seat. Don't worry.
This one's in here. Whoever wins this game will take the Wizard of Oz back class.
While Bowen mumbles over in the corner and these other fine fellows play, it's probably time, just glancing at the clock, and we'll take questions. And I know that we've thrown a lot of pretty crazy info at you. Does anyone care to have anything that they want to
All right, there you go. Take it over.
Go Dan!
Where's a good place to buy pinball games for home?
The question is, where's a good place to buy pinball games for home? Are you gonna make me pick a distributor? I'm friends with some of them, so that's actually one of the things that is troubling about pinball, because the games are very expensive. You know, the level to really get in and to get good and to practice, it's very high. The best place to get games, I would recommend, would be either Jersey Jack or Stern Pinball, because those are the two people making new games. Other than that, it just depends on where you live. You know, you can check Craigslist, eBay, all the different normal places people go to look for stuff, or you know, there's probably some just gaming dealers around where you live. You just have to research where you're at. And that, like I said, that's one of the problems that pinball experiences whenever it comes to expanding into people who don't necessarily play. It's hard to find.
Yeah, I learned about Papa and stuff from the documentary Special Unlit. It's like something like that documentary, is that really helpful to get the word out? And have you?
It can be and it can't be.
Documentaries like Special Unlit really do increase the visibility of pinball. I worry sometimes that depending on the documentary that comes in, they may say, "Oh, look at these weirdos who play pinball for a living." Nobody even does that. None of us are professional pinball players. We just do it as a pastime. You can always pick out the weirdos and the nerds and the doofuses, or you can present it as a culture. And it really is culture, community. Anyone who gets good at pinball got good at pinball from another player. And we're really trying to promote with these videos and these tournaments that same culture, because that's how pinball is going to move forward in an era where there really aren't arcades anymore. You don't meet people at the arcades anymore, you meet people at events.
I want to piggyback on what you're saying here, because it ties into the previous question. We keep mentioning this pinball community. And it's true. You know, whenever you go to websites like Pinside.com, Rec Games Pinball, things like that, you know, you're going to have thousands of people talking about hundreds of different topics every day, all related to pinball. And you're asking me where to buy games. Well, whenever you're part of that community and you come to tournaments and come to events, you meet people. And generally speaking, if I need to find a game, I call my friends, because you know, they're people that I've hung out with and that I've dealt with. It's unusual in that way. I mean, you know, whenever I go out to Denver in May to help run the Lions Classic, I'm going to see a lot of people that I saw last year, and it's like, hey, you know, come on, let's pal around. So, you know, it's yeah, it really is a community more than a lot of other hobbies that I've experienced. Next question. I think he has.
How is it decided which tables you use?
I'm going to come over to you. I can't hear you at all. How is it determined which tables are used for tournaments? I throw darts at the ball. No, actually, as you play pinball, you're going to recognize that certain games offer certain opportunities that other games do not. Some games are designed more poorly than others. It's not necessarily my job as a tournament director running the World Championships to pick games that I think people want to play. It's my job to find out who the best pinball player is. So I will, through experience, through practice myself, through manipulating the way the games play, find games, ideally, that force players into using the widest breadth of skill sets whenever it comes to pinball. So if a game is a one-shot wonder, just shoot the same thing over and over and over, chances are I'm not going to be as likely to use it. Now, I'm not going to say I won't use it, but chances are it's not going to be, you know, high on the list.
This is actually ties into that question. I wanted to know, with your experience in looking at
most satisfying experience for you?
What is the most satisfying game for me, being that whenever I go to work, I have to maintain 500 different pinball machines.
What? What's the question?
The question is basically what's my favorite game? And the answer is that it changes. Pinball is something that appeals to people in so many different ways that I can't necessarily just fixate on one. You know, it kind of depends on what I'm in the mood for. And you know, that actually ties back into the community that I was talking about, because people do get into pinball for different reasons. I traveled all the way to Alabama to buy a Creature from the Black Lagoon pinball machine, and I walked into this guy's house, and you know, he said, you know, come play my games, come play my games. And I was buying a game from him, and I walk up to the game, and I plunge it, and it comes down and hits the flipper, the flipper moves. And you know, it's broken, like it moves. And I'm thinking, you know, you have one of the nicest collections I've ever seen. How do you not have your flippers tightened? You know, like, what's going on? And he says, I never play them. He says, I just like the art. And you know, there's people, are you breaking it? Because I gotta fix it.
I can hear you, I'm playing pinball.
All right. Anyway, just to tie that up, he likes pinball machines for the art. You know, there's people who like pinball machines because they like to work on the electrical aspects of them. There's people who like to work on the circuit boards. There's people who don't know a damn thing about how to fix them, or don't care about what they look like. They just want to play them. You know, there's so many different ways and reasons to get into pinball that the game that I like best kind of depends on how I'm feeling that particular day. Some favorites would be Creature from the Black Lagoon, Attack from Mars is great. A lot of the games you've probably heard. And you know, last month I was rocking Baywatch. You know, it's just, you know, hey, yeah, theme is what it is, but that game's got it going on. There's some cool shots, you know, it's a lot of fun. And, you know, I play a lot of older stuff too. So, right here. I'm ignoring everyone back there because I have enough questions up here.
As you know, pinball it's kind of hard to get into, but recently there's been the emergence of like virtual simulations like Pinball and Pinball Arcade. And someone like myself, I haven't played a real pinball machine until PAX. And I really got into it through Pinball Arcade and playing some new games like Pinball Madness and Private Pinball, and I really enjoyed them. And have you guys considered any sort of work with them?
The question is, have we considered collaborating with the digital pinball community, like Pinball and some of the people who put out some of the digital games? And in many instances, games that are digital replications of actual physical pinball machines. And the question is yes. Whenever you're working in a community like Pinball has, something that has experienced multiple rooms and busts, and you know, previously has gone through what you consider a bust. It's a rising tide lift all boats mentality. You want to get pinball in front of people in as many ways as you possibly can. So you know, if Zen or other communities would come to me and I email them, we've had discussions. If there are ways that we can collaborate, absolutely, yes. I would do anything possible to get this game in front of people because it is damn fun, and I think people will enjoy the time they spend on it. Way in the back, I lied. I'm coming to you. Way in the back. Yes. Pinball league. You're running. What can you do to keep the same 12 to 14 pinball machines fresh when you play them in a league every week? I'm sorry, I can't hear you. In terms of entertainment value. Well, you know, pinball has multiple different types of formats as far as competition goes. You can do pinball, you can do match play, you can do the best game qualifying, you can do single game. There's a lot of different things you can do. You know, in addition to trying different formats, you can change how games play. One of the things I recommend to people who keep games in their house is to once a week, once a month, change just how the flipper rubber is. You know, like turn it off a little bit, or align the flipper slightly different, just to try and keep the game fresh, and just to try and change the angles of it. What are you shouting at?
I get the Calvinia mode.
Are you serious? It's not even a camera.
The camera isn't oriented, people can see this. This is awesome. Cows everywhere.
There's cows. Oh no! Look at all
Come for other cow.
Another cow. It's very rare. It's a cow. I can't believe you did this.
Is that mother cow? Absolutely. Brand new player, what should you be aware of? When walking up to a game for the very first time, basically find the thing that's the most interesting and try hitting that a lot. Because chances are, you hit it 3 or 4 times and something good is going to happen, and you're going to have to figure it out as you go. The other thing is that each game has a rule card to the left, the bottom left, that explains some of the most basic features of the game. So for a game you've never seen before, that's one place to get started. But also, anything that's flashing is usually worth more. What? Oh! Flashing shots are usually worth more, and so you basically go for what's flashing.
This game is really heavy, and they're kicking us out not a lot of times, so they're not kicking us out, very generous. But it's very heavy, and I need to get started writing it down. I want to thank everyone for coming in.